Never live in fear, yet always be prepared. Hey team, Master Schiele here. Today we're going to discuss self-defense. I'm going to give you some tips and strategies that could really help you in a worst case scenario. Let's get started. So the best tool at your disposal when it really comes to self-defense is, first off, being in a constant state of awareness. Here's a great example. We live in this day of age where people are phone zombies. What's a phone zombie? Well, it's somebody that has their phone in front of them and they're walking around like this. And let's be honest, we all find ourselves in that position sometimes, right? Maybe we get a text message, maybe someone's calling us, and before we know it, we become a phone zombie. Here's something important to realize. If you're stuck and glued to your phone, you have no idea of what's around you. You have no idea if someone's going to attack you. You have no idea if you're walking into traffic. You have to understand that when you're in a public area, you cannot ever be in a state where you're not aware of your surroundings. So that is by far one of the most important strategies, is to live in a constant state of awareness. Not fear, but awareness. Let's get into the next tip. So the next tip is pretty simple. Always have an escape strategy. So here's a great example. When you're driving, I believe it's called a wolf pack. If I'm not right with that or you have a better term, hit me in the comments below. But here's what it is. A wolf pack when you're driving, from what I understand, is when you're here and you are surrounded by too many vehicles. If there was something that happened and you had to swerve out of the way, boom, you'd hit the person next to you. So what do they tell you to do? Never drive in that pack. Always drive staggered. So if something happens, you can swerve out of the way. Well, that's an escape strategy. You're prepared, you're aware. If a worst case up the road is there, you can get out of the way. I think the same thing happens as just being prepared. We have to have an escape strategy. When you go to a movie theater, be aware of where you're sitting. Can you get out quickly if you need to? When you're in a restaurant, what's your escape strategy, right? When you're walking down the street, this is an important one. If you're walking with somebody, you need to obviously make sure they're protected, okay? If you're a mother, what do? You want to protect your child first, right? So that's an escape strategy. You're not only escaping for yourself, but you're escaping for the person that's with you. So always look around and say, if I had to get out of a situation, where would I go first? And it's as simple as that. You walk in a new area, where would I go if I have to get out of here quickly? That's your escape strategy. Let's get on to the next one. All right, next one is, if you don't have the awareness, okay, and you don't have the escape strategy, well, the next one is distancing. So sometimes we find ourselves in a situation where trouble just finds us. And if that happens, distance is going to be one of your best tools you possibly have. Here's something I like to teach my kids. When a bad guy comes at them, I just tell them to stay back off, leave me alone. And every time somebody walks in, they take another step in, back off, leave me alone, back off, leave me alone, back off, leave me alone. If they can't grab you, you don't have to use self-defense. Do you see the concept with that? So distance is key. You want to create a safety distance. So if you do find yourself in that position, you want to be loud, you want to have your hands up, right? If you find your hands down, you're not prepared, you're not aware. And you want to constantly take steps back as you're telling your attacker what you want them to do. Real simple. Back off! Back off! Using the words as you're taking distance. The farther you're away, the easier it is to use your escape strategy and go to the next position. If they get too close and they grab you, well, that's where self-defense has to take place. Again, these are tips to not have to fight. This is what this video is about. Let's go on to the next one. The next key is, let's say you have an attacker from in front and they're distracting you and you're working your way back. Well, here's where it happens. What's exposed? Your back. So one of the most important things as a fighter is we never ever expose our back. I have a hard time, as well as all martial artists do, fighting when somebody's on their back. You have to get them off and you have to get yourself to a better position as quickly as possible. One of the worst positions you can possibly ever be in is somebody on top of you and you're on the ground, face down, and they have your back. You never want to be in that position. It's very hard to fight out of that. So what we do is we never want to expose our back. So as I'm creating safety distance, I want to look for strategies to get out of there, and I want to make sure that I'm not A, backing myself against a wall where I don't have an escape plan, and B, somebody's not going to grab me from behind. So when you're walking around, this kind of goes back to being in that state of awareness. Never give your back. Never give your back to anybody. Here's a rule that we like to do as martial artists. We never give our back to anyone in a restaurant if possible. And if you do have to give your back, make sure the person that is across from you at the table in that restaurant, they have, and they can look around for your safety as well. It's a weird thing, but when I sit down with fellow martial artists and we're in a group, you tend to see everyone wants that wall seat where their back is against the wall so they can't, no one can attack them from behind. However, if you're in that situation and you can't find yourself in there, you need to trust the people that are around you. And obviously, if I'm in a group with fellow martial artists, I feel very safe, obviously. So what happens is don't ever give your back. That is key. If you don't give your back, you're gonna have a lot easier of a chance of getting out of a self-defense situation. Let's hit one of our last ones, and then I got a bonus tip for you guys today. The last one is you have to have an idea of how to protect yourself. That means A, take a self-defense class, B, become a martial artist, C, just have a way to fight back. If trouble finds us, we need to be aware and we need to be able to get out as quickly and as safely as possible. Not having skills to do that really makes it tough. Here's something that happens too with my martial artists I see all the time. I see confidence just start to shine from them, right? Because they have an idea what to do. If you have an idea what to do and you train with it, that becomes second nature. You're not worried in a worst case scenario. So the biggest tip more than anything else is be prepared and know what you're doing. If you're worried about somebody choking you, well, it's as simple as learning how to get out of it. If you learn how to get out of it, fantastic. You're already ahead of the game right there. And that's gonna be one of the best self-defense situations you could find yourself in. Team, I wanna hit you with a last tip, and this is something that you can really do, A, whether you travel a lot, and B, it's just a good habit to get into. And what it is, it's a dummy wallet. What's a dummy wallet? Well, a dummy wallet is something that you can carry, okay, with some, you ever get those cards that are not real cards in the mail, that are a little thicker and they want you to activate something, they don't have your name or information on it, maybe it's just a coupon, and you just take a couple bucks, you wrap it around it, and you take one of these clips and you put it around it. You have to have some weight with it, and the idea with a dummy wallet is, in a worst case scenario, somebody's coming at you, they want your money. What you do is you take the dummy wallet out, you throw it, and what happens is you're saying, this is all I have, you throw it in a distance, and you get out of there as quickly as possible. You're not losing anything, and you know what? You got out of there for a couple bucks. I think that's a pretty good self-defense application if you ever need to implement it. Team, I hope this helped. Do check out my other videos. I think you'll love them, and I'll see you in our next one. Take care.